The gallery smelled of turpentine and desperation. Ava adjusted the painting for the sixth time, her paint-stained fingers trembling against the frame. Behind her, voices echoed through the warehouse space, converted into an art show nobody attended. She wore a black turtleneck splattered with dried crimson and cobalt, torn jeans that had seen better years, and canvas sneakers held together by hope. Her dark hair was twisted into a messy bun, loose strands framing a face that hadn't slept properly in weeks. The eviction notice burned in her back pocket like a secret shame. "Excuse me." The voice cut through her spiraling thoughts. Ava turned to find him standing before her largest piece, a man who looked like he'd wandered in from a different universe. He wore a midnight blue suit tailored to perfection, a crisp white shirt with the top button undone, and shoes that gleamed like black mirrors. His watch caught the overhead lights, expensive and cold. Dark stubble shadowed his jaw. His eyes, storm gray and haunted, fixed on her painting like it held answers to questions he hadn't asked. "It's not for sale yet," Ava said automatically. "Everything's for sale." He didn't look at her. "The question is price." Something in his tone made her bristle. "Some things aren't about money. That's what people with money say." Now he turned, and she saw the exhaustion carved into his features despite the expensive armor he wore. "I'm Julian Cross." The name landed like a stone in water. Tech mogul. Self-made billionaire at 32. The man who'd sold his startup for $500 million and disappeared from public life 6 months ago after his very public divorce. "I know who you are," Ava said carefully. "Then you know I don't waste time." Julian stepped closer, and she caught cedar and something darker, like smoke from a fire long extinguished. "I need someone for tomorrow night. A charity gala. My ex-wife will be there with her new husband, and I need her to believe I've moved on." Ava stared at him. "You want to hire me as arm candy?" "I want to hire you as revenge." His smile was sharp enough to draw blood. "One night. You show up, play the part of someone who actually gives a damn about me, and I'll pay you $50,000. The number hit her like a physical force. $50,000 would cover her studio rent for a year. Materials. Time to actually create without the constant terror of homelessness. Why me? Because everyone in my world is for sale, and they all want something more than money. Julian's eyes met hers, and she saw the fracture lines beneath his polished surface. "You don't even know who I am beyond a name." "That's rare." Ava's heart hammered against her ribs. Every rational thought screamed no. Every survival instinct whispered yes. "I want half up front," she heard herself say. Julian pulled out his phone. "Account number." "That's it? No contract? No conditions?" "The condition is simple." He looked up, and something dangerous flickered in his expression. "Make her believe you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Make her doubt every choice she made. Make her burn." The rawness in his voice should have terrified her. Instead, Ava felt an answering ache in her own chest, the phantom pain of her own betrayals and losses. "Deal." He extended his hand. She took it. His palm was warm, his grip firm enough to feel like a lifeline and a noose all at once. "Car will pick you up at 4 tomorrow. Dress will be delivered by noon." Julian released her hand, but didn't step back. "What's your full name?" "Ava Chen." "Ava." He said it like he was testing how it tasted. "Try not to back out." "I'd hate to be disappointed." He walked away, footsteps echoing on concrete, leaving behind the ghost of cedar smoke and a deal that felt like dancing with a blade. Ava's phone buzzed. A notification. $25,000 deposited. She looked at her painting, the one Julian had been studying. A woman drowning in stars, reaching for something just beyond her grasp. Outside, rain began to fall like the universe weeping. Tomorrow, she would become someone else's salvation or damnation. She wasn't sure which terrified her more. The penthouse suite smelled like luxury and loneliness. Ava stood in the center of Julian's living room, floor-to-ceiling windows framing a city that looked like scattered diamonds against black velvet. Everything was chrome and glass and cold perfection. The dress bag hung on a rack like a challenge. She unzipped it slowly. Midnight blue silk spilled out, the color of deep ocean water or bruises that never quite heal. The fabric whispered against her fingers, delicate and dangerous. beating along the bodice caught light like captured stars. The back plunged low, a statement of controlled exposure. In the bathroom, she transformed. The dress hugged her body like a second skin, elegant and unforgiving. A stylist had arrived with it, a woman named Claire who worked in efficient silence, pinning Ava's hair into a sleek low bun, applying makeup that made her eyes luminous and her lips the color of wine-dark secrets. Heels, silver and sharp, added 4 inches and made her feel like she was walking on knives. When she emerged, Julian was waiting by the window in a black tuxedo that made him look like beautiful devastation. White shirt, black bow tie, cufflinks that probably cost more than her yearly income. His hair was swept back, revealing the architecture of his face, all sharp angles and barely controlled intensity. He turned. Stopped. For 3 heartbeats, neither of them spoke. "You clean up," Julian said finally, his voice rough. "So do you." Ava fought the urge to fidget with her dress. "Though I suspect you always look like you're attending a funeral for hope." His mouth curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Accurate." He crossed to her, pulled out a black velvet box. Inside, a necklace gleamed with sapphires and diamonds arranged like falling stars. "Cold fire against black night. Turn around." She did. His fingers brushed her neck as he fastened the clasp, and electricity shot down her spine. The stone settled against her collarbone, heavy with wealth and expectations. "There's something you should know." Julian's breath was warm against her ear. "Catherine, my ex-wife, she destroyed me systematically. Took my trust, weaponized my vulnerabilities, then left me for my former business partner the day after our company went public." Ava turned to face him. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because she'll try to destroy you too. The moment she sees you with me, she'll come for you." His eyes searched hers. "I need to know you won't break." "I've been broken before," Ava said quietly. "I'm still standing." Something shifted in his expression, recognition maybe, or respect. "Then let's give them hell." The gala was held in a converted opera house, all gold leaf and crimson velvet, chandeliers dripping crystal tears. Cameras flashed as they arrived, Julian's hand firm against the small of her back. His touch burned through silk. Inside, champagne flowed like liquid gold. Beautiful people in beautiful clothes played beautiful games. Ava felt their eyes like razor blades, assessing, judging, calculating her worth. "There." Julian's voice tightened. By the bar. Ava followed his gaze. Catherine Cross was a vision in white, blonde and perfect and polished like a weapon. Beside her stood a man in navy blue, handsome in a forgettable way. They looked like they'd stepped from a magazine spread titled Successful Betrayal. Catherine's eyes locked on Julian. Then on Ava. Her smile sharpened. She approached like a predator in Valentino. "Julian." Her voice was honey over glass. "I heard you were bringing someone." "How unexpected." "Catherine." Julian's arm tightened around Ava. "This is Ava." "Ava, my ex-wife Catherine and her husband Marcus." "Charmed," Marcus said, not looking charmed at all. Catherine's gaze stripped Ava bare. "And what do you do, Ava?" "I'm an artist." "How bohemian." Catherine's laugh was light lethal. Julian always did have a savior complex. "Tell me, did he mention he collects broken things?" "Catherine," Julian's voice held warning. "What?" "I'm being friendly." Catherine sipped her champagne. "Though I suppose artists are perfect for men like Julian. You create illusions for a living. He buys them." Ava felt Julian's body go rigid beside her. Every instinct screamed to stay silent, to play safe. Instead, she stepped forward. "The difference between illusion and reality," Ava said softly, "is that illusions are honest about what they are. They don't pretend to be something real while rotting from the inside." Silence dropped like a guillotine. Catherine's smile froze. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. Julian's hand found Ava's, squeezed once, hard. "Excuse us," Julian said, his voice carrying an edge that could cut stone. "We have better company to keep." He guided Ava away, through the crowd, onto a balcony overlooking the city. Cool night air hit her flushed face. "You didn't have to do that," Julian said. "Yes, I did." Ava turned to him. "Because nobody gets to treat you like you're less than human." Not even your ex-wife. He stared at her like she'd spoken a foreign language. Then his hand came up, cupping her face with surprising gentleness. "Who are you?" he whispered. "Someone who knows what it's like to be discarded." The words escaped before she could stop them. "My fiancé left me for my best friend. Took the apartment, the savings, everything we built. So I understand, Julian. I understand wanting them to hurt the way you hurt." His thumb traced her cheekbone. The city lights caught in his eyes, turning them silver. "This was supposed to be simple," he said. "Nothing about pain is simple." He leaned closer, and Ava's breath caught. His lips hovered near hers, close enough to feel the heat of him, the want, the desperation. Then his phone buzzed. Julian pulled back, checked the screen. His face went white. "What is it?" He looked at her, and for the first time, she saw real fear in his eyes. "Catherine just posted a photo online. Of us. With a caption." His voice was hollow. "She's claiming you're a hired escort I paid to make her jealous." The world tilted. "The media will tear you apart by morning," Julian continued. "Your art, your reputation, everything." "I'm so sorry, Ava. I never thought she'd go this far." Ava's hands trembled. $25,000 wouldn't mean anything if her name was destroyed. Julian gripped her shoulders. "I can fix this. But you need to trust me. Can you do that?" She looked into his haunted eyes and saw her own reflection. "What do I have to do?" His jaw tightened. "Marry me. Tonight. Make it real." The chapel was small, hidden in a part of the city where money whispered instead of shouted. Ava stood in the midnight blue dress that now felt like a costume for her own funeral, clutching a bouquet someone had thrust into her hands. White roses. They smelled like endings. Julian faced her in his tuxedo, his jaw tight, eyes unreadable. Behind them, a judge who'd been woken at midnight stood with paperwork that would change everything. "This is insane," Ava breathed. "It's survival." Julian's voice was low, urgent. "Catherine controls half the art world through her family's foundations. One word from her and your career is over before it starts. But if you're my wife, she can't touch you without legal consequences. And what do you get out of this?" His eyes burned into hers. "Proof that I moved on." "That she means nothing." The judge cleared his throat. "Are we doing this or not?" "I have a tea time in 6 hours." Ava's mind raced. Her studio. Her art. Everything she'd worked for hung by a thread Catherine held like a noose. "How long?" 6 months, Julian said. "Enough time for the media storm to die. Then we quietly divorce. You walk away with $200,000 and your reputation intact." $200,000. Enough to never worry about rent again. Enough to create freely. Enough to matter. "And if I say no?" "Then by morning, you'll be the woman who slept her way into a gala for cash." Julian's face was carved from stone. "I can't stop her. But I can protect you from her." It wasn't a choice. It was a noose or a lifeline, and she couldn't tell which. "Okay." The word tasted like ash. "Let's do it." The ceremony lasted 4 minutes. No music, no flowers beyond the borrowed bouquet. Just words spoken in flat tones and signatures on paper that felt like signing away her soul. Julian slipped a ring onto her finger. Platinum band with a single diamond that caught light like a trapped star. "You may kiss the bride," the judge said, sounding bored. Julian's hands cupped her face. His kiss was soft, almost gentle, but underneath she felt the desperation, the fury, the pain of two people drowning together. When he pulled back, his thumb traced her jaw. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "For all of it." 3 weeks passed like a fever dream. Ava moved into Julian's penthouse, her belongings looking lost in his cathedral of glass and steel. Separate bedrooms. Separate lives that collided only for carefully staged photos and public appearances. The media ate it up. Whirlwind romance. Billionaire finds love with struggling artist. Catherine's accusations drowned in a flood of wedding photos and carefully crafted narratives. But at night, Ava heard Julian pacing in his room. Heard him on phone calls that ended in silence. Watched him stare at the city like a prisoner counting days. They existed in careful orbits, two broken satellites afraid to collide. Until the night she found him on the balcony at 3 in the morning, rain soaking through his white t-shirt and dark sweatpants. Barefoot. Shaking. Julian. He didn't turn. Go back to bed, Ava. She stepped into the rain anyway, her oversized sleep shirt clinging to her skin. Talk to me. There's nothing to talk about. You're standing in a thunderstorm looking like you want to dissolve. That's something. He laughed, bitter and raw. You want to know the truth? Catherine didn't just leave me for Marcus. She left because I couldn't give her what she wanted. What did she want? Everything. Julian turned, rain streaming down his face like tears he wouldn't shed. My company, my connections, my soul. I gave it all. And when there was nothing left to take, she walked away. Marcus was just the excuse. Ava stepped closer. That's not love. That's theft. And this. He gestured between them. What is this? I bought you. Made you sign papers. Trapped you in my war with Catherine. I'm no better than she is. You gave me a choice. Did I? His voice cracked. Or did I just offer you a prettier cage? The rain beat down. The city lights blurred into watercolor smears. And Ava realized with sudden, terrifying clarity that somewhere in the past 3 weeks, this had stopped being pretend. She reached for his face, hands cold against his skin. The difference is I can leave. And I'm choosing to stay. His eyes widened. Ava. Shut up. She kissed him. Not gentle. Not careful. Desperate and hungry and real. His arms wrapped around her, crushing her against him like she was the only solid thing in a world coming apart. Rain and want and the taste of something that felt like hope. They stumbled inside, shedding wet clothes, leaving puddles on marble floors. His bedroom. Sheets cool against heated skin. Hands learning landscapes in the dark. This changes everything, Julian gasped against her throat. I know. Ava pulled him closer. I don't care. Afterward, they lay tangled together, his heartbeat thundering under her palm. She traced the scars on his ribs, a car accident he'd mentioned once in passing. 6 months, she whispered. Or forever. His arm tightened around her. If you want. She looked up at him. Do you? I want a lot of things I have no right to want. Julian's fingers threaded through her hair. Like keeping you. Protecting you. Making this real. What if it already is? He kissed her forehead. Then we're both in trouble. She fell asleep wrapped in him, feeling safe for the first time in years. When she woke, dawn light filtered through the windows. Julian's side of the bed was cold. On the pillow, a note in his sharp handwriting. Had to handle something. Back soon. Jay. Ava smiled, stretched, padded to the kitchen for coffee. Julian's laptop sat open on the counter, screen glowing. She shouldn't look. She knew she shouldn't. But an email notification flashed. From Catherine. As agreed, the first payment is transferred. $2 million for 6 months of marriage. The artist never suspected. Well played, Julian. See you when this farce ends. The mug slipped from Ava's fingers, shattered on marble. The door opened. Julian walked in, stopping when he saw her face. Ava. $2 million. Her voice sounded distant, hollow. She paid you $2 million to marry me. His face went ashen. Let me explain. Explain what? That this was never about protecting me? That you and Catherine planned this together? That I was just another transaction. It started that way. He moved toward her. But everything changed. You have to believe me. Why should I believe anything you say? Tears burned her eyes. You bought me. Then sold me back to your ex-wife for profit. I love you. The words ripped out of him. That wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. Ava, please. She looked at the ring on her finger, then at him. The man she'd started to trust. To want. To need. You made me believe this was real. It is real. For me, it's real. Ava pulled off the ring, set it on the counter beside the broken mug. Then you'll understand why I have to leave. She walked past him, into the bedroom, started throwing clothes into her bag. Julian followed, desperate. Where will you go? How will you survive? Like I did before you decided to play games with my life. She zipped the bag. I'll survive because that's what I do. And you'll go back to your glass tower and your broken heart and your war with Catherine. Don't do this. She faced him, tears streaming. You did this. Not me. The door closed behind her with a sound like the end of everything. Outside, the city was waking up, indifferent to one more heartbreaking in the ruins of trust. Ava walked away from the penthouse, from the life she'd almost believed in, from the man who'd taught her that even pretty lies still cut deep. Behind her, Julian stood in his empty home, holding a ring that felt like evidence of his own destruction. And somewhere in the city, Catherine smiled. 2 months. Ava had survived 2 months in a studio apartment that smelled like mildew and regret, painting through nights that felt endless. Her work had changed. Darker now, full of sharp edges and drowning figures. The divorce papers sat unsigned on her table, a reminder that some prisons had legal paperwork. She'd blocked Julian's number after the 100th call, deleted emails without reading them, built walls around the part of her that still ached when she thought of him. The gallery opening was small, a friend's space in Brooklyn. Ava stood among her paintings wearing a simple black dress and combat boots, her hair loose around her shoulders. No jewels. No pretense. Just her and the art she'd bled onto canvas. Quite a collection. Her oversized sleep shirt clinging to he. The voice froze her blood. Catherine stood by Ava's largest painting, blonde hair perfect, cream-colored pantsuit immaculate. She looked like money and malice wrapped in Chanel. What do you want? Ava's hands clenched. To make an offer. Catherine turned, her smile sharp. I'm prepared to invest $1 million in your career. Gallery shows across 3 continents. Major publications. Everything you've ever dreamed of. Ava's heart stuttered. Why would you do that? Because I respect talent. And because I want something in return. Catherine stepped closer. Sign the divorce papers. Walk away from Julian completely. Let him know the marriage was just business. Nothing more. That's it. That's everything. Catherine's eyes glittered. I need him broken, Ava. Really broken. The kind that doesn't heal. You're the only person who can do that now. Ava stared at this woman who'd orchestrated so much pain. You really hate him that much? I really love control that much. Catherine smiled. He's the only thing I couldn't keep. It eats at me. So I'll take the next best thing. His complete destruction. And if I refuse? Then I make sure no gallery in this city or any other ever shows your work again. I bury you so deep you'll forget what sunlight looks like. Catherine's voice was velvet over steel. Your choice, artist. Your dreams or his heart. She left a card on the bench. A number to call. Ava stood alone among her paintings, among the evidence of her pain transformed into something beautiful, and felt the trap closing. That night, her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. Ava. Julian's voice was wrecked. Don't hang up. Please. She should have. But her finger wouldn't press the button. I know you have no reason to listen, he continued. But I need you to know the truth. The email from Catherine, it was old. From before the gala. Before I met you. I'd agreed to her plan because I was angry and stupid and wanted to hurt her the way she hurt me. That doesn't change what you did. I know. But what changed was you. His voice cracked. I fell in love with you, Ava. Completely. And I tried to back out of Catherine's deal. Tried to return her money. She refused. Said she'd destroy both of us if I didn't see it through. Ava closed her eyes. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was terrified you'd leave anyway. And I was right. Silence stretched between them, full of things they'd never say. Catherine offered me a deal, Ava finally said. $1 million and a career. All I have to do is destroy you. She heard his sharp intake of breath. Are you going to take it? I should. I should take it and never look back. I know. But I can't. Tears slipped down her face. Because somewhere in all your lies, I found something real. And I don't know how to let that go. Ava. His voice broke. Where are you? She gave him the address. 20 minutes later, Julian burst through the gallery door. He wore jeans and a black Henley, his hair disheveled, face unshaven. He looked human. Broken. Real. They stood 10 feet apart in a room full of her pain made visible. I'm giving you everything, Julian said. My company. My money. All of it. I'm signing it over to Catherine. Ava stared. What? Why? Because it's the only way to end this. She wants to control me, to own me. Fine. She can have it all. Every dollar. Every share. Everything I built. If it means she leaves you alone, it's worth it. That's your entire life. My life is nothing without you in it. He stepped closer. I'd rather be broke and free with you than rich and imprisoned by her games. Let her win. I don't care anymore. Julian, you can't just give up everything you worked for. Watch me. His eyes burned into hers. I spent 5 years building an empire to prove I was worth loving. But the only person who made me feel that way was you. Standing in a cafe, defending someone weaker. Calling me out on my garbage. Kissing me in the rain like I was worth saving. Ava's breath hitched. She'll destroy me anyway. Once you give her what she wants, I'm just collateral damage. Not if we run. What? Julian pulled an envelope from his pocket. 2 plane tickets. Paris. We leave tonight. Start over where she can't touch us. No money, no safety net. Just us and whatever we can build together. That's insane. It's the only sane thing I've done in years. He held out his hand. Come with me. Let's burn this whole mess down and build something real from the ashes. Ava looked at his outstretched palm. At the paintings around them. At the life she'd built from scraps and determination. At the man who was willing to lose everything for her. What about my art? Bring it. We'll find galleries in Paris. Rome. Anywhere. You're too talented to be silenced. And I'll work whatever job I can find. Bartender, teacher, anything. We'll survive. You'd really give it all up? I already have. Julian's hand remained steady. The papers are signed. She gets everything tomorrow. I kept enough for 2 tickets and 3 months' rent. After that, we figure it out together. Ava stepped forward, her heart hammering. This is crazy. Completely. We barely know each other. I know you defend people who can't defend themselves. I know you paint like you're exorcising demons. I know you kiss like you're trying to resurrect the dead. That's enough. She took his hand. Okay, let's run. His arms wrapped around her, and she felt his whole body shaking. Thank you. God, Ava, thank you. Don't thank me yet. We might be broke and homeless in 3 months. Then we'll be broke and homeless together. He pulled back, cupped her face. I love you. Stupidly. Completely. Without strategy or plan. I love you too. The words felt like jumping off a cliff. Even though you're an idiot who makes terrible decisions. Then we're perfect for each other. They kissed in a gallery full of pain transformed into art. 2 people choosing ruin over safety, chaos over control. Outside, a black car waited. Catherine's driver. They froze. Catherine stepped out, her smile victorious. She held up her phone, showing a recording app blinking red. Perfect, she said. Julian signing away his company to run away with his fake wife. This is even better than I planned. The board will have him declared mentally unfit. I'll own everything. And you, Ava, you're now an accomplice to fraud. Julian moved in front of Ava. Leave her out of this. Too late. You involved her the moment you said I do. Catherine's eyes glittered. Now, here's how this really ends. You'll sign statements saying this was all a scam. Ava will face criminal charges for fraud. And I'll make sure she never exhibits art anywhere. Unless... Ava's voice was steady. Unless you give me one more thing, Julian. Catherine's smile was razor-sharp. Your signature on a document admitting every unethical business practice you've ever committed. I have evidence. I've always had evidence. Give me that, and I let her go free. That's 10 years in federal prison, Julian said slowly. At minimum. Catherine tilted her head. So, what matters more? Your freedom or hers? Ava grabbed his arm. Don't you dare. Julian looked at her, his eyes full of terrible clarity. Get her on that plane, he told Catherine. Promise me she gets on that plane safely, with enough money to start over. Then I'll give you whatever you want. Julian, no. Ava's voice broke. I won't let you do this. It's already done. He turned to her, hands framing her face. You're going to Paris. You're going to paint. You're going to be everything you were meant to be. Not without you. Especially without me. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. I destroyed everything I touched, Ava. But you? You're the one good thing I refuse to ruin. This isn't love. This is martyrdom. It's both. His smile was heartbreaking. Now go. Before I change my mind and drag you down with me. Catherine's driver opened the car door. Catherine held out a ticket. The plane leaves in 2 hours. I suggest you move. Ava looked at Julian, at the man who'd chosen her over everything, who was sacrificing his freedom for hers. I'll wait for you, she whispered. However long it takes. Don't. His voice was rough. Live, Ava. That's all I want. Just live. The driver's hand was on her arm, gentle but firm, guiding her into the car. Through the window, she watched Julian standing under streetlights, his figure growing smaller as they pulled away. She didn't cry until the airport. On the plane, she found an envelope in her bag. Julian's handwriting. Inside, the ring she'd left behind. And a note. Some cages are built from love. Thank you for teaching me the difference. Be free. Be brilliant. Be everything. Yours always, Jay. The plane lifted into darkness, carrying her toward a new life. Behind her, Julian Cross walked into a police station and signed away his future. 3 years later, the Musée d'Art Moderne was alive with light and voices. Ava stood before her exhibited collection wearing a deep burgundy silk suit and heels that no longer felt like knives. Her hair was shorter now, swept back in a way that showed the confidence she'd earned through surviving. The paintings surrounded her like ghosts of who she'd been. Pain and hope in equal measure. Critics called her work revolutionary. Collectors paid prices that still made her dizzy. She was alone, successful, free, and hollow in ways that success couldn't fill. Mademoiselle Chen. The gallery director approached, his accent thick. There is someone asking for you. He says it's personal. Her heart stopped. Who? He didn't give a name. But he's waiting by your final piece. Ava walked through the crowd on legs that felt uncertain. The final painting loomed ahead, the largest in the collection. A man drowning in stars, reaching toward a light that might be salvation or destruction. Julian stood before it. He wore a simple gray sweater and dark jeans, his hair longer than she remembered, touching his collar. Stubble shadowed his jaw. He looked thinner, older, marked by time and whatever he'd endured. But alive. Here. Real. Hello, Ava. His voice carried the same rough edge she'd heard in dreams. You're out. Her voice barely worked. Early release? Good behavior. And Catherine's empire collapsed spectacularly 2 years ago. Securities fraud. The evidence I gave her? I made sure it implicated her too. She's serving 15 years. His smile was tired. Turns out I'm better at revenge than I thought. You planned that from the beginning. I planned to take her down with me. What I didn't plan was surviving long enough to see you again. He stepped closer. I followed your career. Every show. Every review. You're extraordinary. Don't. Ava's hands trembled. You don't get to show up after 3 years and act like this is okay. I know. I know I have no right to be here. His eyes, those storm gray eyes, held steady. But I had to see you. Had to know you made it. I made it because I had no choice. You took that from me when you decided my freedom was worth more than us. It was. It is. Julian's voice cracked. You're standing in a museum showing your art to the world. I spent 3 years in a cell learning that some sacrifices are worth making. And now what? You show up expecting me to fall into your arms? To forgive everything? No. He pulled an envelope from his pocket. I show up to give you this. Ava opened it with shaking hands. Divorce papers. Signed. 3 years ago, I signed away my freedom for you, Julian said quietly. Today, I'm signing away the last thing connecting us. You deserve to be completely free, Ava. No legal ties to a man who destroyed your trust. She stared at the papers, at his signature in black ink. Final. Done. That's it? You came all this way to end us officially. I came to tell you I love you enough to let you go. Really go. His hands clenched at his sides. But I also came to tell you that if there's any part of you that still cares, that still believes we could build something real from all the wreckage, then I'll wait. However long it takes. I'll wait. You can't just ask me to trust you again. I'm not asking. I'm offering. Julian's voice was raw. I spent 3 years becoming someone worth your trust. I work with a nonprofit now, helping artists get legal protection from predatory contracts. I live in a studio apartment. I take the metro. I'm not the man who bought you that night. I'm trying to be the man who deserves you. Ava looked at him, at the evidence of his transformation, at the hope and terror warring in his expression. Why should I believe any of this is real? Because I have nothing left to lie about. No money. No status. No game to play. He spread his hands. Just this. Me, broken and rebuilt. Asking for a chance I don't deserve. She should walk away. She'd built a life without him. Found success. Found peace. But peace wasn't the same as happiness. And happiness, she'd learned, sometimes meant choosing the chaos that felt like coming home. I'm not the same person either, Ava said finally. I don't trust easily. I don't forgive quickly. And I won't let anyone make decisions for me ever again. I wouldn't want you any other way. If we do this, if we try, it's on my terms. Slowly. Honestly. No grand gestures. No sacrifices. Just two people learning to trust again. Hope flared in his eyes. I can do that. Can you? She stepped closer. Can you really live with someone who'll question everything? Who'll push back when you try to protect her? Who'll never be the grateful victim you saved? Ava. He reached out, stopped, let his hand fall. You were never the victim. You were always the hero. I was just too blind to see it until you left. She studied his face, searching for lies and finding only truth worn raw. Take me to coffee. Something cheap. Something real. His smile broke like sunrise. There's a terrible cafe 2 blocks from here. Makes espresso that tastes like burnt mistakes. Perfect. They walked out of the museum together, past paintings of pain and beauty, into the Paris night. The city sparkled around them, full of possibility and second chances. I have conditions, Ava said as they walked. You see a therapist. I see a therapist. We take this at whatever pace I need. And the moment you try to play hero again, I'm gone. Deal. Julian's hands were in his pockets, careful distance between them. Anything else? Yeah. She stopped, turned to face him. Tell me what you really want, Julian. Not what you think I want to hear. The truth. He looked at her and she saw everything in his eyes. The fear. The longing. The desperate, fragile hope. I want mornings where I wake up and you're real. I want to watch you paint and argue about art I don't understand. I want to build something with you that isn't based on lies or desperation. I want ordinary. I want boring. I want a life where the most dramatic thing is fighting over what to have for dinner. His voice dropped. I want you. However you'll have me. For however long you'll keep me. Ava felt tears prick her eyes. That's a lot to want. It's everything to want. She reached out, took his hand. His fingers closed around hers, warm and uncertain and real. Then let's see if we can build it. One terrible cup of coffee at a time. They walked through Paris as the city hummed around them, two people who'd survived betrayal and sacrifice and their own worst decisions. The cafe was exactly as bad as promised. The espresso tasted like burnt regret. But they sat across from each other in cheap plastic chairs, talking until the sun rose, building something new from the ruins of what they'd been. And when he finally kissed her, careful and asking permission with every breath, she tasted hope and fear and the possibility that something's broken could be rebuilt into something stronger. I love you, he whispered against her lips. I love you too, she answered. But if you ever sacrifice yourself for me again, I'll kill you myself. He laughed, and it sounded like freedom. Outside, the world kept turning. Catherine sat in a cell that looked nothing like the golden cages she'd built for others. The paintings in the museum would sell for prices that changed lives. And two people who'd been destroyed by lies learned to trust in truths spoken slowly, honestly, in the harsh light of day. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a fairy tale. But it was real. And real, they discovered, was worth more than any illusion. 3 months later, Ava stood in Julian's tiny studio apartment, paintbrushes scattered on every surface, his books mixed with her canvases. He made terrible coffee. She left paint on his furniture. They argued about everything from politics to whether pineapple belonged on pizza. It was messy, complicated, beautifully imperfect. 1 year later, they married again. Not in a chapel at midnight with desperate vows, but in a small ceremony with real friends, speaking promises they'd both learned to keep. The ring he gave her was simple silver. The vows were honest. And when she painted their story later, it wasn't tragedy or romance. It was transformation. Two people who'd been broken learning to be whole. Together. The end.